just need that person.
This is the Garden Hour. I'm Church Hudson. And before we get started with today's exclusive with somebody that's very, can I say quintessential?
Yes, you
Because she
can.
likes to spin, she likes the brand, the Quin part. So we're going to say she's quintessential. Before we get into her story and how her story gives God the glory, we're going to get some prayer in. Lord, thank you for everything. It's too much to list, but we'll just include everything in our gratitude and our attitude. Lord, we pray that you bless us indeed, enlarge our territory, that your hand will be upon us, that it keeps us from evil, and it shall not grieve us. In Christ's holy name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, Miss Quin,
Yes.
how you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing. I mentioned my birthday was yesterday, so I'm blessed to see another year. That's my new year. So I'm just thankful.
Yeah, happy belated.
Thank you.
Happy belated. So, the Garden Hour, just to give you some context, right? 60 Minutes would always interview people with, it may be a traumatic context to what they're talking about, or something like innovative, or something that is like a breakthrough in whatever they put their hearts and passions in, or whatever the matter. With the Garden Hour, I think it's a time to reflect. Not only on the work that people like you do, but where do we grow from here? Because it's a time to grow.
Oh.
I always tell my students, because I teach middle school, and I tell everybody who I care anything about, which is everybody, I'm supposed to love my neighbor, right?
Amen.
And so I always tell them, the biggest room in the universe is the room for improvement. Right? So we're going to get into that. But before we do, Quin, last name Peterson, correct?
Yes.
Quin, because I don't want to butcher it. I want to get it right, y'all. Right? Miss Quin Peterson. Now, I met you at I think it was a historical society, Historical Preservation Foundation.
Yes.
Event, and at that event, the group of developers and people that kind of upkeep the historic aesthetic of Savannah's properties just kind of went through a few properties that they fully renovated almost back to the original.
Restored, the restoration process.
The restoration process. And among those properties was a lot of different historically Black homes. And how familiar are you with that part of real estate? Because I know you're in real estate, but I kind of sense that you don't just settle for one small piece. I feel like you try to affect change in all of it.
I do. I'm a big advocate in a lot of things, housing, safety, what you name it. Like, I just love to be the voice for the voiceless. I know what it's like to feel like you don't have a voice, starting from my own childhood. And so I feel like God gave me the ability to speak up and speak out for other people, and not just in their housing situations, but domestic violence and sexual assault. So that is a gift that God has given me, alongside just loving people as well in community. So I have had a hand in speaking with our neighbors in our predominantly Black communities and understanding the value of what they have with their properties. In Market Arena, a lot of these different locations that are up and coming, we have people come in, and if they bought their home for $70,000, 10, 20, 30 years ago, I won't say 10, 20, 30, time is flying. They may be offered only what they paid for it or a little bit more, not knowing that now their property is worth so much more than that. So I just had a listing consult about a week ago with a gentleman he's lost his wife. His neighbors are dying around him. Unfortunately, that's the circle of life. But what he's being offered is not a fraction of what the property's worth. And so I do have a heart for speaking with our community about what the actual value is, weighing their pros and cons of their assets. So that's just one of the ways that I try and be as present as possible. And then also just make a plan and make it happen. So my passion are military and first-time home buyers, but I do work with all price points, and I believe in luxury at every price point. Yeah.
So military first-time home buyers, usually those are the types of people that usually are your clients, right?
Yeah, I worked in higher ed for 8 years in admissions and housing. So I'm the,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
that's kind of my background.
so the roots of it all go back to how you dealt with the property on campus in college.
Yeah. Well, I think about it as, in college, you think about the community. So being an RA, it was about putting
Right.
on programming. That was my thing. Like, I've been doing it since before it was a thing. Advocating for mental health before it was a thing. Talking about domestic violence, sexual assault before it was a thing. And that evolved into being a hall director. So I had 3 halls that I was, active shooter situations, making sure people were safe, that they were comfortable. The first time Trump got into office, I was consoling hundreds of women on what that meant for their families and their friendship groups. And that just evolved over time as I became an admissions counselor, certified DC tour guide. So community, housing, and advocacy I would ask God, and I'd be like, how does this make sense? Where is my place in this world for these 3 seemingly separate things? Right. And then he kind of just told me, get into real estate. And I listened. People thought I was crazy. They didn't think that I would make it. And here I am 4 years later working on my broker's license. So, when the Lord tells you what to do and he downloads it on your heart, you just do it if it doesn't make sense to anybody else. And that's kind of how I feel about real estate.
Okay. So now your background in context to what you just said, you were in Atlanta, right?
So I grew up in Atlanta, but I went to Valdosta State, so not too far from here.
State.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so at Valdosta State, that's when you did all of the housing and the guidance and all of the things that you just talked about, right?
Yep, and worked for admissions and traveled around the state talking to students about going to college. And I lived in Alaska for 3 years, so I also did that there, working with students in housing also and talking with admissions, which was a challenge when you're working with Native Alaskans who maybe are in rural villages and they don't know anybody else that's been to college. So explaining to people the importance of investment, thinking about long-term plans. It takes a lot of heart and passion, and I don't think everybody can do it with the same love, but also like sternness that I have the ability to at times.
Right. So you lived a well-traveled. You went through a journey to get for us to have you in Savannah.
Yeah. God is good.
Because our headquarters at the Garden of Good News and our Garden Hour exclusive is live from Savannah to the world. And the last guest that we had came from Memphis, Tennessee, and she followed her passions in fashion and was able to kind of like put her anchor down here and affect change here and find home here. So you went from Atlanta to Valdosta to Alaska.
Yeah, and here.
And then to Savannah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Savannah? Because how long you been here?
5 years. I actually got here the month before COVID.
A month before COVID. So you started your real estate pathway, like just you already was dealing with real estate in a way with the
in a way, right?
But
housing,
as far as being an agent,
yes,
and in lieu of in pursuit to become a broker eventually, started in Savannah, right?
Correct.
Okay, so how do you feel about Savannah as someone that's an implant coming into the city? That word funny, right?
I get it all the time, right? We're transplants, we're implants. I love Savannah, and I'm gonna tell you why. Growing up in Atlanta, I've been in competition with myself since middle school. Since 7th grade, I was in Toastmasters, running clubs. I mean, you have to be the best of the best from the day you start walking.
Right.
And it's a very fast-paced society up there. It's its own world, if you will. You can have all the degrees, have all the connects, and it's still going to be someone that's always better than you. So there's a lot of competition. So going from that, and then Valdosta for me was being a big fish in a small pond. I still was running for homecoming, SGA, on all the clubs.
Right.
And so going to Alaska was a totally different pace of life, right? It was a reality check that I needed, that it's okay to slow down. You don't have to run yourself in the ground. You can breathe. Having people that were applying for the same job send that job to me never would have happened in Atlanta. And so moving here, I kind of had that mix of Atlanta and Alaska, Fairbanks specifically, the interior. So I'm talking negative 40 degrees. Like it was a whole new world of its own. And so what I like about Savannah is that there's a lot of opportunity for people who look for it, for people who work, for people who grind, a lot of community. And if you don't have it, it's easy to build your own. So when I got here, COVID, as I mentioned, was like 3 weeks later. So I started the Black Girl Social Club, and we brunched our way around Savannah for that first. We did online things.
This was like
2020, 2021.
Okay.
Yep, I founded the chapter here. And so those ladies are still having that organization and meeting and brunching and talking around Savannah.
I want to say, I don't want to get this lady's name wrong, but she does some of the best catering, like event planning.
In Savannah, that's currently over it.
That was a part of it, I believe.
Okay. It's possible. I mean, thankfully.
And I think it was a brunch. It was like a brunch club or something.
They have a few now, but at the time I didn't see anything else. And so if I don't see it, I'm quick to create community.
Right. And that's exactly what the Garden Hour is about. Filling in the blanks. Yeah. Standing in the gap. Yeah. Being an outlier and making change, affecting change. Yeah. So the brunch club, you're moving around, you're getting started with the real estate, you're moving and shaking. So as you learn about the terrain, I guess, in Savannah and the property and the real estate, what was your first moment like? Oh my God, it's deep, because you know, Savannah is almost like the cradle of civilization when it comes to America.
Yeah, it's a melting pot.
Did you have any moment where you're like, I wanna change some things around this right here? I know you mentioned some things about some of the people that are kind of like baby boomers, I would assume, in their elderly years around in market. Yeah. And, the big establishment and the attraction that brings. You kind of hinted at some things.
I did.
But there is also a ton of wealth.
Yes.
In Savannah that especially the natives. Yeah. May not necessarily grasp the magnitude of wealth. Right. The magnitude of power.
Absolutely.
I want to say Jekyll Island. Yeah. Right up the road.
Richmond Hill. You got to go that far. Yeah. Richmond Hill.
Right up the road. A lot of places around, little islands around. Right. Because the city is literally surrounded by rivers. Yeah. And an ocean right at the end. Right. So the city is below sea level, surrounded by rivers. It's a lot of water. Beachfront properties, waterfront properties. The Federal Reserve, the reason why I brought up Jekyll Island, the Federal Reserve began in Jekyll Island. A lot of big wigs, the Rockefellers.
Yeah. Ford.
Henry Ford. Yeah. I think we spoke about that some months ago. What was your first realization that, okay, I'm in a smaller market, but it's some giants around here?
Oh my gosh. So I hear a lot of things in there that I just want to explain.
You can pick whatever you want. I just want to know,
No, in a good way.
How did you kind of, because I know sometimes, from my own experience, I would go into a thing, then I'm like, oh, this is more than what I thought. Right. Like when I was enthused about coffee. Yeah. Because I struggled with ADHD growing up and being able to focus or whatever. Coffee is natural. And coffee was a stimulant for me. And my mom, she had me on Adderall, but she stopped prescribing me or having me take it when she took one of my pills on accident.
Oh no. And saw how it
Yeah. So, so later on, make a long story short, when I went into coffee, I started finding out that this is a huge
Yeah.
thing. Coffee
Yeah.
is,
Started at 6 and I should have never.
it's like a loop. It's like a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
it's a lot to it.
There is.
I just kind of want to get your take on when did you realize that this is kind of bigger than what I thought it was?
No, I can think of the exact moment. So at the beginning of my career, I loved what I did. I was doing pretty well on a team that I was on. But I started to notice that a lot of our middle class and working families were being bought out. So a lot of people are starting to realize that Savannah's where it's at. You've got the beach, you're close to Jacksonville, you're close to Atlanta. You've got all the seasons here. And so we have those who are moving from up north selling their houses, especially at the beginning in the right aftermath of COVID. So they're selling their houses, they have cash on hand. And so our local citizens, our service workers, our police, our teachers were being bought out of the market. I heard lenders telling single moms to get 3 jobs, to get a 3rd job just to afford their payments. And that's when I was
lenders recommend single mothers with 2 jobs to add another one?
To add another job. I said what I said. I said what I said. And that's when I was like, I have to do something more. And so that's when I started working full time on the advocacy front of how do we fix this problem, making sure that people understood if the average home sale is $330 and you're not making at least $100, whether it's 2 people or 1 person, you're paying more than that 33% that you're typically supposed to pay for rent. So anything over that, you are cost burdened. You're paying 50 in some cases % of your rent on your mortgage. That is not how the system is supposed to be set up. And I think that enough people don't understand that. So that's when I realized like there's something bigger here. That one, like you said, there are the haves and there are the have-nots. And we have this spectrum of people who have the money, the cash on hand in some cases, or getting gifts and small loans from family members so that they don't have to take out that loan. And then we have those who are being told to get 2 and 3 jobs and aren't able to see their kids or spend time with their family or enjoy the fruits of their labor in this home because they're doing all these things just to afford it. So that's when I was like, there has to be more that I can do to educate people, to help them with down payment assistance programs, to help them with their credit repair so that they get better programs. Because I think it can be so daunting. People don't realize that it is attainable. We just have to make a plan and make it happen.
You know, 2 words was jumping to my mind when you were talking like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna even hold you, right? And those 2 words were group economics, right? When a lender, and this is a question, by the way, when a lender is prospecting whoever trying to get this loan from this bank that's laying a WWE SmackDown, Lord have mercy, on the folks in the name we get a house.
Sorry, not me here.
Like, I gotta say it like that.
I wasn't ready.
Cause man, listen here. All I can think of, this is the question though, just for real, like in all seriousness.
I'm here.
What if, let's say it's me, you got a home girl, I got a partner or whatever like that, and we put what we make together, everything together, and go to the lender for one property. Can we do that?
So they will source where the money comes from. There are people who will get LLCs, and that's how a lot of property management companies, I won't say property management, but that is how a lot of businesses right now are buying property in Savannah, is that they're pooling their money together and buying property. So it just depends on if someone is actually living in this home or if you're going to constitute it as an investment property. But I do wish that as a community, we did it more, because there are cultures. Is that what I'm trying to say?
I'm glad you bring this up.
There are cultures that they all, and I have several clients that are doing multi-generational. So we're talking 3 different generations, 4 different generations of family members that will move in a house. They all pay on that mortgage, and then they will do the same thing for the next person and the next person, and so on and so forth. So there are different ways that I, again, don't think that we understand that the system has been set up for us to think individually that is a problem that we can't afford. And not only that, it's a shame thing So people don't talk about the fact that they're spending all of their money on their rent. And we don't factor in the fact that everything is raising but wages. Like, I will die on that hill.
Deodorant
I
about
will
$8.
die on.
Deodorant $8.
So,
Great.
eggs. So I feel like people have to understand that, like, when the economy is doing what it's doing, but they're not paying you more, we wonder why crime is going up. We wonder why foreclosures are happening. The things that are happening with the different companies that are going out of business in our community, that affects people directly. That affects how they eat. That affects how they live. That affects their mental health. So I'm not just in the real estate business. I'm in the people business, for sure.
Right.
You are everything at all times to people in some ways in this business.
Yeah. I mean, it has a direct effect on everything from a student's ability to pay attention in class.
Yes.
Depending on what his living situation, his mom or whoever his caretaker is, their bandwidth to tend to him.
Yeah.
It gets really deep.
Yeah.
And you factor in everything that goes into the gross inadequacy of the cost of living versus the pay that we receive. So the question I have to follow up with that, with the group economic model, which would be efficient, right? Because everybody can come together and multiply what they earn and show that to the lender so they can get something, versus being by themselves or being with a spouse or something like that. Where it's just two people, you can have 4, 5, 6. Is it against real estate firms, brokerage firms, for their real estate agents to educate and advocate for people to form LLCs and go the group economic route?
It's not against, I mean, I always give multiple different options. One, because we never want it said that we told someone to do one thing or pick one person. So I always tell my clients, talk to 3 lenders, talk to 4 lenders, talk to your bank, ask them. Right. I'm not a lender, so I don't want to get into the legality of how to source the money, because you can't use mattress money. So it has to be from an actual like account or certain places. So people wouldn't be able to just take money that they're doing off the books from something else and put it all together. They will start to trace back the bank accounts, and they will say, where did this come from? How long did it sit in the account? It does have to actually vest for so long before you can use it. So I've had clients take out of their TRS to help a partner or a family member buy a house, and they will ask, where did it come from? Has it sat in the account for so long? So that is why it's important to talk to a lender or talk to a realtor, because they can let you know exactly what that process is. But it's so different for every situation. But there are a lot of people that are making LLCs, that are having their own holding companies, their own trust funds, their own estates, or whatever it is that they're putting money in, and having that entity purchase property. And it does kind of, have a shelter that you may not have as an individual. But then, of course, when you have 5 or 10 people that are all owning this one property, then you'll have to talk about how you're using the property. So that's where, then we need to get lawyers involved and talk about what that looks like. But it is a model that I think more people should understand that it is feasible, just because of how much harder it can be for people to purchase these days.
So let's say somebody in that group of persons, their credit is, their credit ain't hitting on nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody shot out.
It happens. Yeah.
So would that ding the group when they're looking at? How do they take it back to middle school with the median,
right,
the raw, the mean? How do they?
Yeah, they are looking at everything. They are looking at everything. So there are times that one person has the credit and one person has the funds. So again, it just depends on how they want to use it. They may use the best. They may not use one person's. But what I will say is, bad credit is not the end of the story. If they have a few months to be dedicated, it's possible. A homegirl, Brittany Harrison, is amazing. I send all of my clients to her, and she does credit repair. And so they can talk about, look, let's pay this off. And it's best, again, to talk to someone who's going to look at the actual home and say this is what it is to qualify, as opposed to just paying stuff off. Because sometimes it is good to have that you are a good borrower, as opposed to just paying stuff off and it going off your credit. So it really just depends. But there are cases where we'll have two couples, and they'll have one person that has the credit and one person who has the money or the time or the job. But as long as they have an offer letter, in a lot of cases from a job, so people who are moving here, you got an offer letter, the other person has the credit, they'll put it together and see if that person qualifies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't already set the ground. Now, she didn't set the ground, right?
What exactly?
She didn't lay the foundation. See, you just set me up for this grand question. You
I'm
ready?
excited. Yes, I'm
Okay,
ready.
The question is, when are you going to lead the movement for more of us to go ahead and tap in to this
the best I can.
No,
yeah.
no, and this ain't like.
Let me rephrase that. I'm doing it now. I feel like I'm doing it now.
Let me make sure you understand what I'm saying.
I'm letting the people know now it's possible.
Okay, this is what I'm saying, right? Because you are already doing it, like you said, right? But you know how politicians campaign to be in office?
Yeah. You're onto something.
This is just how I feel. Man, most of us can't afford no house, bro.
It's hard. It's not our granddaddies.
Hey, man. This ain't 19.
Yeah. It's not the same coming home from the war and one person working. It's not. But again, what I want to say is there are programs. There are people who are looking to restore the balance. And so do not let people fearmonger you that you need 20%. You can do as little as 0% with USDA. So depending on where you are, in some parts of Pooler, some parts of Port Wentworth, it can be 0 down. It is currently a buyer's market. So sellers are offering down payment. It's a buyer's market.
She's going to have to explain this, y'all.
Sellers are, there are more homes on the market than people who are actually looking right now. And so the buyers have the upper hand in the buyer's market.
So say that one more time.
We're currently in a buyer's market. So there are more homes on the market than people who are looking to buy, for the exact reason that you just said.
There are more homes on the market than people are willing to buy.
Yes.
And people ain't willing to buy because
people are having reservations because of the inflation's happening. So the best time to buy is always when you can afford it. So if you just got a new job, and if you have been saving, and you think that, first of all, people are paying $2,000 on average for rent anyway. Those larger families are paying $2,500 anyway for homes to rent them. So in that case, you might as well buy and have your own equity. This goes to the second part of your conversation. The average millionaire amasses their wealth through real estate. That's how your president got in there, okay?
Of course.
So we have to learn as a community that real estate is the single most, I won't say it like that. Real estate is one of the best ways that we can pass down that generational wealth. Exactly. Even if you decide to take the equity and do something with it to start a business or to send your child to college, you won't have that money building up any other way. You might as well think about renting as throwing that money in the trash can and burning it. But if you're taking that money and paying off a mortgage every month, when things happen, this is how during COVID, so many people were able to do other things such as renovations on their home, buying another home, or whatever it is. Exactly. You can take that home, take out the equity, buy a bigger home. There's so many things that you can do when you have that money going every single month into your own personal account, as opposed to just giving it to your landlord, because he's going to keep going up every year anyway.
Exactly. So that's exactly why I mentioned that a lot of us, we not trying to buy these price gouging astronomical numbers, surrounded by the house.
The market adjusts itself, though.
It's I'm not dooming and glooming you, right?
No.
I'm not dooming and glooming you. I'm only saying that to advocate for the group thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
To
it's
get
all
what
the
you want.
yeah. I'm coming.
To get what
I'm
you
gonna
want.
come back to the message
No,
now.
no, no. Well, what I'll say is the other great thing about it being a buyer's market is that they're setting the tone. So the longer they sit, if your agent isn't having the conversation with you that this is not what your home is worth, it's going to sit. That's why they're sitting and coming down on price on average. And the buyer has the ability to say, you're asking for this. That's what you're asking. That's not necessarily what you're going to get. And they get to say, this is how much I want to offer you. And then that's how the negotiation.
That's when they negotiate.
That's how the negotiation with good. My first dream job was a lawyer. So that's my favorite part of the process. Is kind of advocating, getting them numbers, advocating for my clients. Again, there goes that advocacy piece again. It all makes sense. And so it's very real. But that's why you also are looking in your price point and you're buying when you're ready to buy. It's not always the best time for everybody, but if you're already paying so much in rent,
right,
it may be feasible for you.
So I guess with you explaining it the way that you explaining it, it being a buyer's market just based on the foundation that you can kind of negotiate the numbers down, being that the house is sitting, because we ain't boo-boo the fool, we ain't about to spend buku money on all these houses, man. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't like these houses be like creme de la creme. Depending on what house. Depending.
Yeah.
I can't speak.
Because the million is increasing here. We have more and more homes.
And people moving people moving here from other cities that they didn't been sitting on money.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to live in a lot of different cities, bigger cities, you know? So it's like, you know, it's some things involved when it comes to making it fair for people who are generationally I guess like their dad's dads and dad's dad were born here. And I know that playing devil advocate, they'll say, well, they should have made sure that they managed their property so their great grandson or their grandson, you know, had an equal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like,
I know the rhetoric, but I will also say, kind of back to what we were saying about helping our baby boomers and the generation that are getting ready to retire or want to move closer to family who have spread all over the world in a lot of cases. That restoration piece is expensive. If you are in what is considered historic Savannah, you can't just replace it with a new part. It has
glad
to be
you mentioned that.
Very similar.
That's bringing it right back to how we started this conversation.
And that's what's expensive to people who are on fixed incomes or who may not have the money.
I was just telling my boy that. So one of my friends is staying on 37th and Jefferson. That's a major, but the house that he's in, you know, it needs some fixing.
Yeah.
But like I was telling him, bro, this is a historic house. This ain't just no.
Windows cost thousands and thousands. Yeah.
So, okay. So you have that element at play, which brings us, we got a full circle moment to how I met you at that event, at the Historical Preservation Foundation, HSL. And now HSL, they receive grants, do they not?
I'm sure they do.
It's something that some kind of tax.
Yeah.
It's something that the government, they have worked out with the government, because they're a nonprofit.
Yes.
And they have something worked out to where they can get price cuts and different things. I'm not 100% sure on exactly how they do what they do.
Yeah.
But kids go to SCAD for preservation and you know, they spending out tens of.
I don't want to just say big business, but it's big business. It's a thing, especially with our communities getting to having so many homes that are 100 years or more. We have some that are new construction that they're rebuilding with the likeness of those homes, but a lot of them, people are either still living in them or blight happens. And that's actually when the families don't know who own it, they abandon it, everyone leaves. And like we just said, they can't afford the new roof on something that has to be this style, this brand, this type of roof. And unfortunately, when our families don't have not real estate, what am I trying to say? they don't have a will and they haven't specified who the home belongs to and the family lets it go like that, that's when the city can come in and take it.
Right.
That's not good for us either. So even if you can't afford it, like you say, looking for programs, which there are, that provide grant funding so that people can renovate and restore
Right.
to the way that it's supposed to be up to code, or pay those property taxes. That's another thing. Now the house that my mom and papa bought for little of nothing is considered $500,000, $1 million, and the property taxes are going up. So that's when we as a community have to have more conversations about, this is an asset. What do we do with the asset? Do we find a grant to renovate it? Do we find a grant to turn it into something else that we can make it historic? And that's another thing, that yes, a lot of those homes, they were specifically applying for historic status, and that made it eligible for a whole subset of funding.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a big part, the history.
Yeah.
And the irony of it is a lot of these houses are historically Black.
Yeah.
Like with that event we went to, and I'm like, wow. You know? So it's like,
I love it.
It's pros, and I guess
Yeah.
it's positives and negatives you can take from it. Because the negative you can say is, if my great granddaddy stayed closer to the inner city, and now his home is considered historical, and we want to renovate it, but we can't do it unless we got these astronomical renovations, because the city values the history.
Correct.
Right? But they don't value the part of history where people that owned these homes and was living in these conditions was treated unfairly.
Yeah. Or what they did to get that property.
You know what I'm saying? And what they had to go through.
Yeah.
So it's we can go on and on and on about different things.
Sure.
But I feel like this is why the garden hour is important.
Yes.
Because it's a time to grow. It's a creative space for us to step into the chat, fill in the blank, affect the change. So I vote, this is what I vote for. I vote for the group thing. You know what I'm talking about? Hey.
Okay, let's go find a property then.
Listen,
find some friends, find a property, set up that LLC. But we're joking, but I seriously am in this, like, let's buy back the block.
Exactly.
Like, I am very fervently trying to get my finances to a place that I can buy multiple properties. So, fun fact, I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. It's tiny little city, very dilapidated, unfortunately. But I grew up from 11 to now in Atlanta and in Georgia. But I just went home this past break, and it's so sad. And a really quick sidebar I want to say is, people don't understand that when we have that much ruin of a community and of a culture, and the passion and the pride of it, the people who are in it have no hope. And I think that when we talk about the jobs and what they strive for, or the children that a lot of are considered homeless, actually, when they're staying with friends and family because they can't afford their own home. The population that live in hotels in Savannah, that pay $500 a week, which is $2,000 a month, like, they're price gouging when they're, kicking out properties that were affordable for those who are tourism industry workers, and they don't make but tips, and they're still paying people $2 an hour.
Right.
They're still paying some people $2 an hour in tips. What that looks like when they are no longer in these $1,000 apartments, because now the owner wants to renovate it so that he can now charge $1,800, and they slap some paint on it, and now this person has nowhere to live, and they're moving further and further and further out. People are leaving the city of Savannah because they cannot afford. And what happens when the heart of a community, the people who have been born and raised here, who sat on grandma's porch, can no longer afford to live here? We lose the heart and the soul of our city.
Right.
So, kind of bringing that back around, it is important for us to understand that we have to take charge in pushing back, fighting back about a lot of different issues that are happening that make it impossible for the affordability of our city, holding up the fire to our municipality when they go against things that make it affordable, going to community meetings and city council, listening in, they're online. A lot of those conversations directly affect how much housing costs in our city. And again, I'm not even always just talking about buying a house rent. Like, there are no rent caps. People can do what they want.
Right.
And so there are a lot of opportunities for people to start in real estate as a group, as a community, as an LLC, as a buy back the block,
Okay.
or even just writing grants, raising money to help those people or those communities who are trying to restore, as opposed to the renovation, restore property before the city takes it.
Right.
At some point, they will say, "You're not taking care of it. We want it."
I love it.
And
You
that's
preaching.
important. Yeah.
You preaching, right? I ain't got an organ, but I want to play it. Now listen.
Yeah.
Now, you are my third guest on the Garden Hour in this concept. I've interviewed other guests that's doing their thing, right? That's providing either a product or a service to the community. But I want to do more than just inform the audience and get some details about whoever I'm sitting in front of, and I'm getting details from them. I want to take the conversation to dedication, right? Like I tell my students all the time, this ain't a conversation, this is a demonstration, right? Because a lot of things that we talked about in this few couple minutes was solution-based, right? And I think that I want to stand behind those anchors and game changers, people like you. I want to stand behind people like you and join hands with you to affect that change. And we got to have this conversation. The conversation that we having, me and you having, we need to start having this conversation more.
Yeah.
You know, because the conversations that are circulating in the city between people that are really affected by what we just got finished talking about, what we're talking about right now, this conversation is not circulating. And I can get into the conversations that's circulating, but I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna mention it. You know, I ain't gonna mention it.
Yeah.
However, I want to collab with you more. I know you're busy, but I want to collab with you more just to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Just to start talking, just to let people get together, think about how they can come together, form the LLC, bring your money together. More of our men need to be in trades because all these renovations, somebody gonna get paid from the situation.
That part.
You know what I'm talking about?
And thank you for saying that, because, and maybe when we keep saying LLC, it should maybe even be a 501c3, because then there are the nonprofits,
right,
different funding that we're eligible for, and there's so many of them, right?
Right.
But I think there's a specific thing here that might be different. But we also have to remember that there's actually a shortage of trade jobs right now, and the way that a community could uplift local painters, local HVAC techs, local roofers, that's good money, and they can have this group of people who are dedicated to either doing, I don't know if pro bono is just lawyers, but you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
They can do so much work.
To the audience, for the people that don't understand pro bono.
Yeah.
It's like a professional in the industry.
Yeah.
That
right
renders their service at a fraction of cost or even nothing.
Yeah.
So like somebody that's an HVAC tech, they can provide their services as a write-off and be able to take care of other people.
Wants a house, like kind of thinking of how Habitat for Humanity does stuff. Like,
right.
We can also
Habitat for Humanity
like
is
that.
good. They are good.
I've worked on a house and I have another one I'll be working on this weekend. Like, but also we need to be doing that work in the community.
We do.
Like, we have to bring back community service. Like, that's when you remember and are grateful. I love doing community service for that reason, to realize how good you have it, one. And two, like, we have to see and people have to be shown that people still care, that it's not just me. So when you show up to help build someone else's house, when you show up to feed the hungry, when you show up to toy drives, it instills faith in other people that,
and that's
okay,
beautiful.
someone still cares. And I think until we get back to that as a community, until we start really living out the word community, we will fall. We will perish.
The rich gonna get richer and the poor gonna get poorer. Because see, one thing about it, two things for sure. 9 times out of 9 times, the rich,
they got each other back.
They working with each other.
They
working with each other. Ooh,
they have
Lord
each
have
other's
mercy.
back. They have each other's back.
So we
we are crabs in a barrel. And I feel like you got me in here talking all crazy. But yeah, I think we have to come together.
We do.
And realize that they've been pitting us against each other as a have and have not stature. And not even just always putting us against each other, but again, I cannot stress enough, making us have this pride. The pride that we have individually when the system is working the way that they intended, but it's not actually working for us, is where a lot of us are also falling into the traps of, living off of credit cards. Like you say, like there's a lot of debt going on, but it can be remedied. And we just have to admit it. People have to say that this isn't working, I need help, and then let people who are genuine and professional provide that help.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it brings me to, I'm going to transition into something that is right on topic.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned that 98% of millionaires or wealthy people, they have some form of real estate, right? Another statistic that is kind of like neck and neck to that is marriage when it comes to millionaire status and wealth as well, right?
Go down a whole real tangent.
So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
Number 1, I advocate for marriage, right?
Yes, amen.
Number 2, outside of, just the marriage, what I don't advocate for is the opposite of marriage, which is sowing your royal oats for, I'm gonna keep it PG-13. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep it rated E. Sowing your royal oats is rated E.
Yeah.
But, our people can't prosper.
Yes.
If wherever we lay our head as our home, we always love to get it on, and we always got something going on. Usually, because we got too much dip on our chip, right? Usually that plays a big role in why people don't come together and get the properties, because their idea of having their own spot and getting out of mama house and getting out the house is so they can just be off the chain.
Yes. So, piggybacking off of that, I have to keep talking about other cultures with the assumption that our viewership is predominantly of the African descent. And another loose statistic, although we all know about the divorce rates for many different reasons, a lot of other cultures are thriving and have a higher net worth because they also value marriage in its original intent and context outside of the covenant of God, or in addition to, the covenant of God was a business arrangement. It was to progress your family, to progress your fields, to partner what you have and what I have, and to make it this dynasty, this empire. And we have gotten so far from that to who can cook or clean or give me this sense of pride. And
it's
I
nonsense.
think that we have to acknowledge that 2 business-minded people have to come together to build something that they're leaving for at least 3 generations.
Right.
That they're working hard, that they're saving, that they're buying. I don't know why as a community we started to say, I didn't have it, so I won't leave for them, or spending all of our money so that it's gone when we're gone. And that is the single most reason that, like we say in Richmond Hill and some of these other places, and I shouldn't even just use locally, but across the world, that people have compounds, farms, assets, like real assets down.
I'm talking about living.
Because they thought ahead. And I desperately want a movement that we bring back marriage.
We about to do it. We about to do it.
Of not even just business, but
life, period.
Just the kingdomness of it. Like a kingdom, it has a place and there is an order.
Well,
And its purpose is to continue to take care of everyone within that kingdom. I don't know. I
no,
do
yeah, you
know.
preaching.
I do know.
I got my organ. I'm in the pew.
I do know. I just
So that's
want
the
us
so that's the
desperately.
thing.
It's
That
just crazy you said that, because like it's a hill that I will also die on. That I feel like we allowed social media and music, because I have this platform, so I'm gonna say what I've been saying for a minute.
stand
Our
on it.
music, they don't push that to anybody else but us. And the
Nonsense,
music
ain't it?
tells us not to trust each other, that marriage isn't important, while everybody else is playing and singing love, 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 get married, 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 walk me down the aisle. And we're playing and listening to on repeat. Did you watch They Clone Tyrone?
Yes. Yeah. It's a perfect visual. It's a perfect visual.
Perfect visual.
Yeah.
You might tell it better than me to give a quick context of like what happened, but I just think of that scene, that the music that people are not only listening to on repeat and it changing their equilibrium and how they act, but they're believing it and acting it out.
Right.
And I think as a culture, until we change our mindset about family, finances, and faith, thank you, Father God.
Yes, it is.
We will perish. We will perish, and everyone else will continue to
flourish.
Yeah.
Two things. Number one, I'm glad you hopped in your bag, because I'm about to hop in mine. First of all, the discussion has to happen more.
Yeah.
Right? Like I already said.
Yeah.
But in addition to the discussion, I don't think that we necessarily plan to fail the way that we are failing. Right? I don't think we plan it. Right? Like, you ask somebody, right?
Yeah.
You plan on failing and not getting no house and not, they're gonna be like, no,
Right.
I'm working on. They're gonna be like, no.
You're right.
But what's happening is we're failing the plan.
Yes. Make a plan, make it happen. I'm telling
We're
you, that's
failing the plan.
my thing.
Did
you plan to fail, you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
You plan to fail, right?
Yeah.
So, and I had an old school cat. He was like, young blood, I'm gonna be 70 this year. Look good. Looked like he was like 50. You know, black don't crack. Anyway, but he was just telling me, he was like, take care of yourself while you're young.
Yeah.
And he said people don't necessarily, plan to fail, but they fail to plan.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like a twist to that old saying, right? And it kind of feels a little more accurate to me, right? You know what I'm saying? Because if you plan to fail, you do fail to plan.
Yeah.
If you fail to plan, you do plan
to
fail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But nobody is sitting with a sheet of paper and a pencil like, let me plan to fail.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like what we are talking about is planning to succeed. You get what I'm saying?
You have to think long term and plan backwards.
And you have to plan it out.
And I've told people for years that it's the only thing I attest my success to, because I feel like I have so far to go. God has given me so many dreams. But I've always seen the end goal and worked backwards. And I think as a community, we have to start thinking long term, making that plan and working it out and sticking to it, even when it doesn't look like it's working.
And that's my listen.
And I don't think we plan, but the other tangent, again, we have the platform and we're at the table. Mental health.
Yeah.
We have to talk about mental health in our community.
Yeah.
And so all of the taboos that we don't talk about or didn't know because our parents didn't know, we have to seek the information and understand that your mind,
Lord have mercy,
is a terrible thing to waste. And so a man thinketh.
Ooh, Lord.
Whether you think you are,
yeah,
think you aren't, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. You are correct. And so I think it all just goes hand in hand. It just all goes hand in hand.
Everything works together. All of this stuff is working together. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to love the Lord.
Yes.
So all of the things that's working together for your bad can work together for your good.
Yes, it
Because if
can.
you love him, you're gonna keep his
That's how I
commandments,
know.
right? You're gonna follow the law.
Yeah.
You're gonna get on that G code.
Yeah.
And that's gonna decode all the things that got your files corrupted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Honey,
And I think that
connection, yeah.
the music, to your point,
Yeah.
and I'm a musician, and we're gonna have a Garden Hour event in September. Date will be announced soon. We're gonna have a Garden Hour event with music that's aligned with love, the way that you just articulated. You see how we're doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
So everybody that I'm interviewing, right? I'm not just interviewing people to interview. We're gonna interview, we're gonna have a plan, and then we're gonna organize, we're gonna execute.
Yeah.
POE. My beloved and belated father, he passed away in December of last year. That was his bread and butter. POE. So once you plan it, now you got to galvanize it. You got to organize it.
Yeah.
You got to find out when you available, Quin. You know, you got all kind of stuff going on. You know what I'm talking about? You having workshops, you're traveling across seas, you with comedians. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look, when I come back from this mission trip, I'll be,
see what I'm saying?
Available.
Now, see, the people, and that's the thing. That's why the organization is very critical, because most people that add value and that can really affect change, they're going to be busy. Why? Because if you are skilled, the Bible says if you are skilled, you're not going to stand before obscure and mean men.
Yeah.
You're going to be before kings and queens, which means you're going to be busy.
Hey.
Or productive.
He
Let's
has
say
to
productive,
well
because you could be
done.
busy doing nothing.
Hey.
You're going to be productive.
Come on. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the organization, after today's conversation, is going to have to slide into some documentation for the situation. You know what I'm talking about?
You're funny.
We going to have to make it shape. You understand me? We going to have to make it shape some kind of way.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to touch a degree now.
Yeah.
We touching the degree?
Got it.
Okay, it's
All right.
documented.
Yeah.
That this conversation, we need to let it echo around the city. We're going to have to come on together.
Yeah.
Fellas, keep your zippers up.
My Lord.
Ladies, keep your britches up. Take them bonnets off. My sister that I interviewed with Signature Struts, she was talking about them bonnets.
Yeah.
I know you look good, sister, but I don't want to see that print.
My Lord.
Lord have mercy.
I just need us to say.
We need to get right so we don't get left.
Yeah.
We need to lead us not into temptation for the situation. Let's go ahead and girdle up our loins, is what the word says.
No,
the loins, this is the loins.
Yeah.
You got how you gonna put on the armor of God and your belt loose?
Come on now.
Your clothes falling off.
You better preach.
We're gonna have to tighten up.
Yeah.
Because our ancestors, a lot of the people that own these properties that we was talking about, when they put on clothes like at least one person loved them. Right? They put on garments.
Yeah.
Classic garments. You look nice. You look nice today.
You.
You know, you can button something up. You know what I'm saying? Hello. Yeah. You don't look like you're going to sleep when you're outside.
Yeah.
Right? We need a shift. That's what the Garden Hour was about.
Right.
It's a time to grow. Nobody is perfect. If you see me half stepping, I'm not above reproach. You know what I'm saying? But I think I'm going to continue to pull on your coattail and be in your left pocket and your right pocket. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to.
It's going to be good.
I'm going to have to be sickening. I'm going to have to be sickening a little bit.
No, I'm excited.
Just a little bit. Because what we don't see and what I think is missing, really, is someone like a real estate agent, someone like an attorney. These, I forget what the color is of these jobs. But these, you know, these suit wearing, high office building,
where we're not normally
coffee brewing type of positions, right? These office positions, right? They are pitched and promoted like get a Benz in the mansion, and you know, when young girls or anybody, when you think about going down a path, you think about how can I get some money? You know what I'm saying? I understand that. However, you don't have to chase money when you really into the service of it. Money gonna chase you. Yeah. Right? So I think what is gonna be beautiful about what you do and others that you influence and others that's already in in the wavelength of this volume or the bandwidth of this radio station, but just need somebody else to be able to play it. So you're like, oh, he playing that?
Yeah.
Right? I think what's going to be beautiful about it is it's going to be a different outlook on the type of brilliance and positivity that you can connect to real estate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Because boy, property, that's a big thing. A husband, what is a husband? A husband is a manager of property, of land.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My auntie, I never forget, she told me this when my heart was broke up about this situation I was in. I was younger, like, you know, early 20s, right? She was like, look up the definition of husband. And I looked it up, and, you know, you got a manager of property and land, et cetera, et cetera. She said, do you have any of that, nephew? No, ma'am. Pick yourself up and go get it.
Period.
Pick yourself up and manage.
Yeah.
Have something to manage. You know what I mean? And manage well. And everything we're talking about right now is all centered around management, from mental health, from our finances, from how we come together, how we work together, how we communicate with each other, how we are available to one another. Because it's going to require all of that to come together. You have to be available.
Yeah.
You have to be able to have some type of integrity. You have to be integral.
Yeah.
I call you one day, I don't hear back from you in a couple of days, but then I seen you post on Instagram.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Our people, our generation. Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, I think that's what I can get behind you with this and get excited about this. We don't have a date on this yet, but we're going to have the Garden Hour collaboration with Ms. Quin Peterson. We're having this conversation with more of our people.
Passion. I just need that person.